what was your worst loss, or what is your worst loss?
So basically, it come when I was having a really good period at this club water near Bathampton. The locals call it Gibbon. I'm not going to say the real name, but if you know, you know. But yeah, basically, I think a couple of weeks before, I'd had one of the 18. It's a fish called Jaffa at 36. And prior to that, I hadn't had many big uns. So it was like, I'd had a few 30s, but I was getting a lot of smaller ones. And then I went through this run of having a few 30s close together, leading up to this cap. Well, it wasn't a capture, it was a loss. But anyway, I was in a peg, it's called peg 6, and I was definitely pushing the boat. Now, anyone that was there on that day will say I was taking the piss. And I 100% was, because basically a swim kind of opposite but slightly to the right is called doubles. There's a bloodworm patch out from there. In fact, that's where I had Jaffa from. So I'm fishing opposite and to the left. Now, I noticed, I think it might have been Little Dan that was fishing over there in right-hand doubles. Gives you access to this bloodworm patch. And he wasn't fishing that far out. I was like, And no one was fishing far out from this bank, so I fished further than I should have, really. Because I think it might have been Jack Baber said to someone, he's taking the mick, isn't he? And I was like, well, I am, but no one said anything to me. So anyway, fishing out at range, catapulted probably, I don't know, 30 baits like you usually would over there. Middle of the afternoon, it was really, really random, you know, like 3 o'clock-ish, just absolutely melted off. I've lifted into it, not really done much to start with, just kind of felt heavy. So I'm just retrieving it in kind of like a dog on a lead, and then it's kited right. Now, it may be my fault that I lost it, but I'm not going to take that. I'm just going to say I was unlucky. But I've got this rod out that I've just hooked this carp, and I've got a rod down to the right, which is, there's like a tree. I've got a rod underneath that. Slack lined, but it's underneath that, almost parallel to the bank, a couple of foot off. This fish is kited hard to the right. Now I'm trying to obviously keep up with it, but you know what it's like. As it's got down there, rather than move, just pick that rod up and just budge it over there, just get it out of the way so I could just play this fish. I tried to play it around it, around a slack line which was a mistake, but I managed to. But I've been jiggery pokery and all this, and then I've got it. It's come back out in front of me, and in front of there, there's like some. It was like almost like boulders, but not proper boulders, but some big rocks in the front, only a few. And I'd gone on to. I've come off because you can't use leg core at this lake. I can't remember what I was using. I was using IQ for carbon leaders, and I went on to a Fox one. Illusion, I think it was, but for whatever reason, I think it was a thinner one, so a lower breaking string. I tried it because it was a lot more invisible. I don't know whether you remember, like when the Illusion adverts come out, they'd put it on the bottom and you literally couldn't see it. So it was like, oh yeah, I get that. You know, being young, you just buy into the fads, don't you? Not saying it's a fad, Fox, but so. I'm playing it, and it's come around near these boulders, and it's almost flanked, and I've seen just this massive fish, and it's pale as anything. And then as soon as I've seen that, it's buggered off again. Now, I don't know what it was. Could have been Jaffa that I'd caught a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But what I do know is one of the biggest fish in there is quite pale, and there's a few others that are massive and they're pale.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gone off again on a little run, probably only 10 yards, and I've brought it back again, and I've seen it again, just a glimpse of it. But as I've seen the glimpse, it's bolted off and tink, gone, and it's cut me off on one of them rocks.
I didn't realise it cut you off. Yeah, that's a bit horrendous.
Through the crappy Fox Illusion thing. So, and it was gone. I'll never know what it was, but I'd seen the mass of it the first time I seen it flank.
Yeah.
and it was big.
The thing with them lakes or that lake there, that complex, or especially that lake, there's so many big fish.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of probably 35 pluses that could have been.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can imagine that was quite painful.
Yeah. You know what it's like there yourself though, don't you? It's like, it's a big one. Like,
Yeah.
because I remember a guy who was fishing further up, Aaron, I think his name was, and he'd come down to talk to me. I don't know if you remember, but I probably was just a bit of, not an ass, but I I wasn't very talkative. I was just like, no, I've just lost one. I threw me rod in the bush. When I was younger, I was a bit more fiery, but yeah, I weren't happy. You know, because the thing is, it's days only. Don't know if I mentioned it. It's days only, and the pressure is really on because that last few hours of light is when you're going to get your bites, and you might only get one. And although there's quite a good stock, it is can be very tricky at times. As Ben found out.
The thing is, we've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people go through big runs of blanks on there. So
which, you know, touch wood, I didn't. I've done very well there, but yeah, that one still stings me today because that could have been, you know, mission completed.
Yeah, that is a shame. Wow.
Was it?
Unlucky.
Cheers.
Alright, cool. So while you were talking about GIMP, I believe that's where you made your first £30 from.
Yeah.
So if you want to lead us through that capture, that'd be good.
Yeah, so it was a bit mental, to be honest. I think it was a couple days before, because I'd done an evening session, and I noticed that there was some fish right down the shallow end in a front of a swim called, I think it was called Gravels.
That's right.
So I thought, I've got a full day the weekend. I think it must have been a Wednesday or a Thursday I'd seen them up there. So I was doing the Saturday, and I thought, I'm going to get down there first thing and get down Gravels. In the morning you don't tend to get a lot of bites, but I thought it's a good starting point. They're there, or they had been there, and it gives me a good view of that top half anyway, which in the morning and in the daytime they spend a lot of time that time of the year because it's warm.
Yeah.
So
to be fair, of all the spots up there or on that lake, that's one of the areas that does do more morning bites than others. So.
Yeah, didn't for me, but so yeah, I started in that one, and got the rods out. Was fairly confident, like I always am, even if I haven't seen anything. But I heard a fish, but I didn't see it because I was messing about with my bivvy because it's a really tight swim. So I tried to put a brolly up for some reason. I don't know whether there was rain coming. I can't remember, but I heard something and I looked round. And then I could just see the rings, and I thought, right, okay. Carried on having my cup of tea. Heard another one. Over the space of an hour, I probably heard maybe 3 or 4. Okay. And I don't know why I didn't just move straight away. Because nowadays I'd be like, the first one I probably would have been off ski. But like when I was younger, I was a bit more hesitant, and I was like, right, I don't know whether you ever do this, but I'm like, right, one more shows. I'm sure everyone has done this at some point.
Usually there ain't another one.
No, I know. And you're like, wow, you know. But I was like, if one more shows, I'm moving. So about 2 minutes later, like massive, and then it come out again. I was like, that is a chunk. So I reeled my rods in, whizzed around there, because I thought I don't want to get the bar around there straight away. I'll just take a bucket so I can get around there quick, and if I can see them show, I've got like a point of reference to know whereabouts. Well, I didn't need to worry about that because I went round there and there's a gazillion fish around there. But so I went round there, dropped a bucket quickly and just had a quick look. And there was fish kind of moving around. You could see them because it's really shallow. 3, maybe 4 foot at max, maybe further to the right of the swim. And you could see them cruising in. I was like, right, this is it. Like, this is getting on. Went and got on my kit, come back, and just sat there. And to be honest, I was a bit like, didn't know what to do because there was fish like on the surface, there was fish like just under the surface. I'd seen fish show that looked like feeding fish. There was the odd fizzers here and there. There was a bit of clouding up here and there, which was probably flanking more so than feeding. But so I was like, what the hell do I do? So I started with zigs. And because this is how much of a noddy I was, I started with an adjustable in like 3 foot, 4 foot of water. I was like, this ain't working. So I reeled them in, put some just straight zigs out, 2 rod limits, so I only had 2 out there. I think I went for like a 2.5 and a 2 foot zig, both black foam. Whacked them out. Sat there like, come on, you know, and fish are moving around it the whole time. I'm like, oh please, come on. Nothing happened. So
it's
then
one of the problems up there, isn't it? Because the fish are so active.
Yeah, yeah.
You could change
And the
tactics
clarity's
20
crap as well.
times a day. And
yeah, it's just potluck with the zigs. So in the end, I was like, right, I've got to change something. Now, to the right hand side of the swim, I seen like one, probably 5 little puffs of like clouding up, but they're all in like a weird circle. And I was like, I'm going to reel one in and just put a hinge in there. You know, hinges never failed back then. That was like my go-to. I was like, I'm just going to put a hinge bang in the middle of all them little, you know, cloudy bits. And then I'm going to do what I usually do, 9 boilies over the top. So I've done that. I think I left the other one as a zig, I can't remember. And I'm sat there thinking, yes, this is going to happen. And I see a fish. I don't know whether I was on the phone to you when it went, or I just got off the phone to you. Because I phoned you saying about all this crap that wasn't it?
Yeah, I was actually with Dad. I was in his garage and we were talking about it on the phone because I was about to go home. And then by the time I put the phone down and finished the cup of tea or whatever, he rang me saying what happened had happened.
Yeah. So I think that's what it was. I put the phone down. So I'd seen this. I put the phone down and then I seen this fish moving in and just cruising around, and I was like, okay, sweet, and just thought nothing of it. Like now, I'd be like on it, like I'm gonna have one in a minute. Anyway, so I turn around, start walking back, and all of a sudden it's like, wee, just screaming off. But I turn around, and there's, because obviously it's shallow water, and you know, obviously I haven't seen this, but this is obviously what happened. Because it's shallow water, the bow wave from the fish has spooked these birds.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, is that the birds? Or? You know what I mean? Like you just second guess it, and then like you know, about 2 minutes later, and it's still fizzing. I'm like, yeah, that's got to be a fish. So I've leant into it, and honestly, when I say it must have took about 40, 50 yards down the margin. Like literally, it just kept going and going and going and going, and I thought, if I don't stop this, it's going to be like that. It's going to take like everyone out down there. So I just buried the rod tip and just cranked and cranked and cranked and cranked, and it come back. God knows how, because there's like overhangs and all sorts. But similar to when Ben, like I say, he said the story when he had Joker and it buggered off. It's because it's shallow water
up there, because they do rock up there, don't they?
Yeah, they do rock, and obviously it's shallow water, so they've not got the depth to use, so they just kite. But yeah, got it back. Little bit of plodding. I think it knackered itself out on that first run, to be fair. A little bit of plodding about. Got it in the net. Didn't realise what I had at the time. And I was like, bloody hell, that is so savage. Peered over the net and just seen the width of it. Now, bear in mind, I hadn't had a 30 at this point, but I had them up to just under. And it's, you just know when it's just that different kettle of fish. Even though, like, when I have my first 40, like, it's, you just know. And it's hard to explain, even though you've never had a fish that size. I knew, and I was like, mega. And I can't remember whether I rang you straight away or whether I weighed it and everything. But yeah, I weighed it, and I mean, that's another part. Like, I had a bit of a panic on because it started bleeding really heavy out of its gills. And I was like, what the hell? Because I hadn't had that before.
No.
Again, still young, not, you know, fished for a number of years, but I'd never had that before. So I can't remember whether I rang you or I rang Dad, but Dad said, no, it's normal, just put it back in the sack or whatever, or the sling, or it might have been just in the net.
Yeah, I think it's in the net.
And just let it rest, and it's just stressed. So I was like, right, okay, sweet. So that kind of took it out, like the buzz away for a moment, because I was shitting stuff.
Yeah.
Because when I lifted it, when I turned it over to get it in the sling or whatever, I can't remember, but it was almost like a congealed like bit. It was horrendous. But yeah, obviously Dad's clarified that it would be fine, and then I rang you and you came and done the pictures too, and it was a mega cup. £30, 6 ounces or something like that. I always forget the ounces.
Yeah,
Terrible.
I think £30.10 rings about, but I thought
Might
it
have
as
been.
well.
Yeah, £30 an ounces. I don't think it's there anymore. I think it's past, but it did go on to be £40 and one of the the main ones.
I don't know. I think it did start becoming quite friendly towards the end. Which
Not when I had it. Rock up when I had it.
When you caught it, bear in mind I'd seen most of the fish in the lake at that point. That was the first time I'd ever seen that one, and I'd never seen it on the bank.
I don't even think it had a name back then.
No, it didn't. I'm still unsure which name it was, but
no, I get mixed up. But it's a well-known fish, obviously before it passed. But mega carp.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to come down and see it. Good to be a part of one of your moments instead of you doing everything for my moments.
Yeah, I know.